we have mojito mint and chocolate mint.
Cool. That's awesome. I have, I think I have like 3 or 4 different kinds of mints in my garden, but there's one type of mint in particular that I really, really love, that I will tell you about as we go on with this class. But does anybody want to tell me about the things they remember from the mint family, the Lamiaceae family that we've learned about a couple times? There's like specific things that I want to have like drilled in your head about being able to identify the many, many things in the Lamiaceae family. Anybody have an idea? Yeah, Liv said it's a very big family. It has over 7,000 species in it. What do you got, Liv? Try to unmute yourself. That usually works better.
I know that I think it has like a squared stem.
Yes.
And the leaves go like out like that.
The leaves go out, the leaves on the stem? Yeah, cool. Sorry, I just got a message from Jaden's mom. This is good. I want to make sure that he can get in. Give me 1 second. Sorry about this, guys. We'll get back on track tomorrow, I promise. Hey, Baron, good. I'm glad you got in. So we we had some technical difficulties, as you all know, with a password accidentally being put on the room, and I'm not sure how that happened, but I'm going to figure that out for tomorrow. We started learning about mints again, but specifically mint, the things that people call mint, not necessarily this really big mint family that we have talked about a couple of times. So I hope that that's not super confusing. And I'm gonna delete all these X's. Elijah, is that you? Are you making all the X's? Haha, I have the magic eraser. Too bad. So the Lamiaceae family, what we were talking about, what Liv was telling us, is 7,000 species. They have square stems. Their leaves are often opposite. Is that what you meant, Liv? Like they kind of come off at the same place? Right. So they're opposite like this. They come off the same place on the stem pretty often in this like symmetrical kind of pattern. When they flower, what do the flowers look like? Elijah, do you know? Yeah, Jaden, great. I'm glad we got you in here. We missed you. Hi.
I have, those are the mint I have in my garden.
This is what you have in your garden?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this is a really common one. Anybody know what the flowers look like? Baron.
They look like little mouths.
Exactly. That's where the word. Yeah, that's where the Lamiaceae comes from. Lamia, Lamia, means lips or mouth, and the flowers look like these little tiny cute mouths. And pollinators fly in there, and the pollinators love them. Anything in the mint family when the flowers are out. bees and flies and all sorts of beneficial pollinating insects. So there, of the mints, the thing that people call mint, like Ileana mentioned, mojito mint, and I think, what was the other one? Chocolate mint? Maybe, yeah. So there are 13 to 24 different species that exist in this Mentha genus. So Mentha is what starts the species name of all of these particular plants. Mentha, there are 13 to 24 Mentha species, and they are, so that number is so broad, 13 to 24, because there are lots of different varieties within individual species. And a theme that you might have noticed in me talking about plants is that sometimes scientists disagree on whether something is a different species or whether it's just a cultivar or a variation within one species. And some scientists are like, no, it looks different, it has something different about it, we're going to give it a whole new species name. And other scientists are like, no, the genetics, these are exactly the same genetically, and we think they're so close genetically that they are the same species even if they look different. So that's just like kind of a silly thing within the scientific community. It's like people just having different opinions, but there are so many different kinds of mints because they does anybody know what the word hybrid means, or does anybody have an idea of what that word means to them? A hybrid? Anybody ever heard that word?
Yeah, hybrid.
Well, hey Crystal, you just learned that word.
Liv, you wanna give us an idea?
Well, I don't know if it's the same hybrid that you're talking about, but when I think of hybrid, I think of like a semi-electric car.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, so dive into that word. Why is that semi-electric car called a hybrid? Do you know why?
No.
So you're onto something. When you're talking about a semi-electric, why is it semi-electric, and what is the other thing that it is a semi of?
It can run on gas when the battery power runs out, then it goes to the gas.
Yeah.
And then while it's going on the gas, the battery charges.
Yeah, exactly. So that means it's a combination of two different kinds of engines. It's a hybrid between a gas engine and an electric engine. So, what do you have? There you go. You're unmuted. The person whose name is Poop.
Crystal, come here. Oh my God. Okay. My brother wanted to say something, but he just ran away. I don't know what he wanted to say.
Okay, that's fine. Do you know what hybrid? Did you want to talk about what a hybrid is, or did you have something else?
Yeah, it's like two things mixed together.
Yeah, two things mixed together. Cool. So it is in the plant world. This is all good information, and it all means similar things. So in the plant world, a hybrid is a genetic cross between two different kinds of plants, or maybe two different varieties of plants in the same species, that cross to form something that looks new and sometimes tastes new, tastes different, has like its own unique characteristics. So mints make their own hybrids really, really easily. They can like cross with one another through seeds and through pollination and make new plants very easily. And then all of a sudden we have like some a mint that nobody has ever seen before, or that nobody it tastes different. Nobody ever has tasted this particular type of mint before. So then people are like, well, is it a new species or is it the same species? I don't know. And that's when we have all sorts of like funny different disagreements. So this picture is a good example of how mints grow really, really vigorously. They grow really rapidly, and really in all sorts of different soil conditions. So a lot of people grow them in pots. Does anybody have an idea of why you would grow a mint in a pot instead of planting it in the ground? Baron.
So it doesn't spread, which we definitely didn't know, so it's spreading all over our yard.
Do you think that it's spreading all over your yard is a problem, or is it like okay?
It's fine. It's kind of taking over some of our plants.
Yeah, I understand. That's definitely something that it does. Chaos, do you have some things you want to share with us? What do you got?
I think I was gonna say what he was gonna say.
Yeah, that it spreads really rapidly.
Yeah. I have it all throughout my garden. All through there.
Do you like it or not?
Yeah, we use it.
You use it. Yeah, that's good. I think so. Some people will call mints invasive. Some people think that they take over too much space too quickly. I think we have to be careful with plants. I think that it's important that we don't want mint taking over the woods. We don't want mint taking over, established ecosystems, but it doesn't really do that. It just fills in empty space. So if we don't have things planted in an area, we want there to be plants there. We want there to be plants that are filling in empty soil spaces, in my opinion, and that's what this soil wants. That's what the earth wants. It doesn't want bare soil. So if you have something that's useful, that's kind of taking over all the empty spaces, and then you can use it and maybe give it to your friends or harvest it and dry it for future use or something like that, it's not really a problem. You just kind of got to get on top of it and make sure you harvest it, and then you can clear space for your new plants. I really like mints as like an introductory plant for new gardeners. I think it's important that new gardeners know that it can take over, but it's also like really, really hard to kill a mint plant. It takes a lot of neglect and a lot of really bad conditions for a mint plant to actually die. Liv says, we planted strawberries and mint close together and now they are at war. That is, it's a funny thing you say that, Liv, because strawberries and mints grow very similarly. They have very similar patterns of growth, which is my next slide. A new vocabulary word for you today. Well, does anybody remember this word, rhizome, from previous classes? If you have an idea of what the word rhizome means, you can unmute yourself and tell me about it. You can give a guess, Chaos, if you want. No guesses? All right, no problem. So rhizomes, a rhizome is a root structure. The Latin word that forms rhizome, rhiza, it means root. So rhizomes are these like long spreading roots, which you can see right here. And sometimes people just call them runners. Sometimes people also call strawberries, how strawberries grow, as runners. But a word that you can use from now on, your vocabulary word for the day, is stolon. So stolons are the points of new plant growth, above ground plant growth, that form on the runner. So strawberries have runners that shoot out above ground. But every time the runner hits the soil, it can put down roots, and that is a stolon. It's like a new plant that has hit the ground, puts out roots, and then that new plant will put out another runner above ground, and that will hit the ground, be a new stolon, a new plant. So mint is similar to that, in that, but the stolons are often underground. However, if a mint plant does, maybe, for example, maybe this above ground part falls over and gets buried in the soil, any part of this plant that is buried underground can shoot out new roots, because it's just a very powerful plant like that. It has really great abilities to just generate new plants. You could just like tear off a little bit of this and stick it in the ground, and you'd have a new plant, usually, if you just watered it and gave it some good soil. So that's why mints kind of explode. You know, they're so hardy, they take over, you know, whatever space, because they don't really need very special conditions to grow in. They like moisture, they like rich soil, they'll grow more vigorous, and their leaves will get bigger and greener and brighter. They'll probably grow faster if they're in really good soil conditions, but they also don't care that much. They grow just fine in my yard where I don't have great soil. They grow just fine, you know, in pots in places that don't have a lot of moisture or don't get watered very often. They do really well. Chaos, you're doing some pretty cool stuff with your blanket in there. You look like a superhero. Pretty cool, pretty cool.
I'm using it as a green screen.
I know, it's very cool. Is it a green blanket?
Yeah.
Is it a dinosaur?
No.
Oh, because it looks like you have
Oh,
cold.
it's an alligator.
Oh, it's an alligator. I have a green blanket. Maybe I'll remember to show you tomorrow. I have a green blanket that has a dinosaur head, and it's pretty cool. I bought it when I was sad a while ago, and I wear it whenever I'm sad. It makes me happy. So I want to spend some time going into just some of these many different varieties of mints that maybe you all have seen, or maybe you've just consumed them. Maybe you have them in your garden, or you've seen them in stores, because a lot of people like mint in tea form, especially. It's very common as a tea. So I think the most common form of mint, there's two that I would say are most common for tea and that people grow in their gardens. And the first one is spearmint. Spearmint is used in flavoring all sorts of stuff. Does anybody want to tell me spearmint flavor that is common that they've seen or that maybe they've eaten? Any ideas? And then maybe we can kind of like guess from there some of the reasons why, some of the medicinal qualities. Eliana, do you want to talk about mint?
Oh, no, sorry. It just logged me out of the meeting. I just came back in.
Oh, hi. I'm glad you're back. Okay. Anybody, what have you seen spearmint flavor in? Anybody? Liv, go for it.
Like gum and like tablet mints.
Tablet mints, yeah, like sugary candy mints.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, what else, Liv?
Oh, I was gonna say that and wintergreen are like the two that are used the most.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Paloma, do you have anything else to add?
I was going to say mints.
Yeah, in like candy mints, breath mints or whatever. So I was thinking toothpaste is a big one. And so what quality of spearmint or what quality of mint makes that, why would we want to add that to things like breath mints and toothpaste? And Jaden, go for it.
Because it smells really good and it has that minty flavor and mint smell or taste. They usually last a long time for me.
Yeah, so it's a very strong aroma and a very strong flavor that humans associate with like freshness, right? With like a good clean smell. And it's good, it is actually good for your like oral health. It's good for your mouth and your oral and dental hygiene. So that's one of the reasons that we associate it with that. It has these volatile oils in them. There's lots of oils in the leaves of mint. So this is spearmint. I grow spearmint in my garden. It's not my favorite kind, but I really appreciate it for how much it's used in tea form and for medicine. So the next one, which is very common, especially in tea form, and that people, whoops, I went ahead. No, there we go. So peppermint is mentha, and it's this X here means that it's a cross. Peppermint is a hybrid. It's a cross or a hybrid between watermint, which is another species. Watermint and spearmint are crossed, hybridized, combined to form our very common peppermint. What kinds of things do you associate with peppermint? Liv, go for it.
Candy.
Candy. Like what kinds of candy? Or what time of year do people like
Candy.
freak out about peppermint?
Christmas candy.
Yeah, for some reason at Christmas time everybody goes wild for peppermint flavors, and that the like red and white striped stuff that's everywhere around the end of the year at Christmas time. It flavors, people want peppermint flavored everything, and it's basically just like minty, another kind of like minty flavored sugar, right? Minty flavored candy that we add into all of our stuff, and it makes us think of Christmas and winter time, kind of like that. Wintergreen is probably the same, and I wonder why. I'm not exactly sure why, but I it makes your mouth feel like cold, right? It gives you that like that kind of like shivery feeling, and I wonder if it's just like we associate it with the cold and with snow and that time of year for some reason. Chaos, you have a thought or a question?
How sweet is peppermint? I never had it before.
So I don't really think that I don't really associate them with with sweetness. I think that that sweetness is the sugar that is added to this stuff. It really is, but they all have different types of slightly different flavorings, and some of them are stronger than others. The next one, so peppermint is a pretty strong flavor by itself if you just like put the leaf in your mouth. The next one that I accidentally already showed you, that's my number one favorite, is chocolate mint. I think that chocolate mint has a very special flavor. It's another cross. It's another peppermint. It's considered the same species and the same hybrid as peppermint. Jaden, what do you got?
We have chocolate mint in our main garden and our herb garden, and before it was in the one clump, and now it's like out of the garden. It's like, you can't keep me here.
Yeah. Yes.
Everywhere.
That is, and you know what? I love chocolate mint so much that I don't even care. I've planted chocolate mint in like, I don't know, probably 6 different places around my yard. And I am pretty excited about how it's still very small because I only started planting it last year. But I'm excited about it like being all over the place and filling in all the holes. Chaos, what do you got? Oops.
It's weird. We have extra time.
I know, we do. We have extra time. I'm not sure what's going on with Zoom today. I have nothing to do with any of this weirdness, but I'm going to try to get to the root of it. So we have a little bit of extra time apparently today, which is nice. I'm happy. Thank you, Zoom. Baron, what do you got?
The chocolate mint is the one that's just taking over my backyard.
It's very common. People really like it, and it grows really rapidly, just like most other mints. I think it's super yummy, and it definitely tastes. It definitely has that kind of like York peppermint patty, or like what are those Girl Scout cookies called? I forget. Someone has to remind me what they're called.
Thin Mints?
Yeah, Thin Mints, of course.
I'm a Girl Scout.
Oh, see, you know all the flavors. I think that Thin Mints and like Andes mints, if you've ever had those, and like mint chocolate chip ice cream, all that stuff. And it's funny because like I personally don't really like those things. I don't like chocolate and mint in like cookie or ice cream form. And trust me, I love ice cream and I love cookies, but I love chocolate mint. I especially love it as a tea. I just really, really think it's very soothing. It tastes delicious. It has a little bit of a chocolatey flavor somehow, although some people disagree about that. But it's definitely one of my very favorites, and it seems like you guys all like it too. It's pretty yummy and very, very easy to grow. And also the same as peppermint. Another one that's pretty common that maybe you have in your yard, because I know of this one as having a very having bigger leaves than other types of mint, is apple mint, which sometimes people also call woolly mint. Woolly mint because it has like fuzzy leaves and fuzzy stems. Eliana, you have a question or comment? Go for it.
When you make the mint tea, do you use fresh leaves or do you dry them?
I use both. So at this point, I have a couple bags of like Ziploc bags full of dried mint leaves, and I drink mint tea almost every day. I drink hot tea pretty much every day, and sometimes I just let it get cold overnight, and but there's always mint in my tea blends, even just a little bit. But now that I have a bunch of mint growing in my garden, and it's gonna start going crazy and taking over and doing its thing all the time, I'm probably just gonna use fresh mint during the time of the year that it's growing, spring, summer, and fall. I'll probably just use fresh mint. And it's a good question because when you dry herbs, a lot of times the flavors become more concentrated. They have less water in them, and more of those oils are concentrated to be extracted in boiling water. So you'll usually get a stronger flavor when you use dry mint. But it's pretty much the same. Other than that, you might just have a little bit, like a little lighter, maybe a little bit of a different flavor if you're using fresh stuff. So the apple mint or woolly mint is a different species. It's Mentha suaveolens, and the next one that I am going to talk about is also that same species. But who wants to tell me, this maybe isn't the greatest picture, who wants to tell me what is different about this one versus the other one that we just saw? Baron.
It's got white on the edges.
Yeah, so it's got this like white outline. There's little like different coloring of these leaves. And does anybody know what we call that? when something has these different colors in the leaves other than green? My hint is that it's actually on the slide already. Baron, what do you got?
I'm not guessing for that, but I just noticed that are all of these in the species gonna be have a fruit in their name?
Fruit? Oh, did you say are they all?
Yeah.
It's pretty common. There is apple mint, you're right, pineapple, orange, yeah, all of these. So that's I'm not sure why. I think that it's just a common way that people have decided that they want people who are buying these mints to think of them in terms of other flavors, like combined flavors. Yeah. Liv, what is the word on the slide that you call when leaves are not just green?
Variegated.
Yeah. Very
Variegated.
So when you see the word variegated, it means that a leaf has different colors, usually like yellowish white, but sometimes red. And that's a very specific. Those are often like genetic characteristics that scientists or plant breeders will choose for. So if accidentally, like, one of their plants, if one of their plants all of a sudden accidentally has like red speckles all over it, or white margins on the outside or something like that, they'll be like, oh, this looks really cool, people are going to want to buy this because it looks different, so we should like keep producing it. And then they just have these variegated leaves, and that's where we get certain varieties from, is like genetic mutations. Liv, you have a question? Looks like we have 2 minutes left.
Oh, I was just going to ask if it was a genetic mutation.
Yep, it is. It's a genetic mutation, exactly. And that's how a lot of these varieties come to be, is, genetic mutations or adaptations that work to their advantage, or that, humans think are cool. So here's another one. This is Mentha citrata, like citrus, and people call it orange mint. So like Baron, you're right, it's another fruit one. Other people call it bergamot mint, which is another flavoring. If you've ever had Earl Grey tea, Earl Grey tea has bergamot flavoring in it. And it's just another species. And it has a bit of an orangey flavor. Let's see what's in the chat here. Mint lemon limeade. Cool. That sounds really delicious. Paloma said that she made a lemon limeade with mint from her garden. That sounds really yummy. Chaos, what do you got? Oh, we have less than a minute, it's telling me now.
No, I was making my hand by.
Oh, well, here, I'm just going to do some things to do with mint. This here is a couscous. So there's like Middle Eastern. Mint is native to parts of the Middle East. And there are a lot of Middle Eastern dishes that use mint as a flavoring. So it doesn't just have to be used in water or lemonade or tea. It can be used as an herb and a garnish and a flavoring that also helps with our digestion. Mint is really great for digestion in a lot of ways. So it can be added to a bunch of different dishes in that regard. So we might run out of time, but it was good to see you. I'm sorry about this password thing that happened today. If we have more questions about mint, we can do another class in the future, because there's lots and lots of stuff we could talk about. But you all seem to know some stuff about mint already, as I figured you probably did. So hopefully you won't have a password tomorrow. I will try to get a message out to your parents or on my Facebook about it, whatever I figure out. So I'll see y'all later. Good to see your faces today. Bye. Happy Monday.